Hello, everybody. We are live once again. Thank you for joining me, guys, for another live stream. I just want to welcome you all to the show. The show. This isn't really a show. This is just a discussion. This is just us hanging out, talking about some comic book goodness known as Thor Love and Thunder. Because as you guys know, as you know from the title of this video, we are here to discuss as a film loving community, as a comic book geek loving community, the Thor Love and Thunder teaser trailer that we were all treated with. What was it? Was it yesterday, Monday? It was Monday morning, right? Hey, we already got some people in here. Let's check them out. We got Luke. Hey, Luke. Zach, what's going on, dude? Happy to be here to talk about the Thor Love and Thunder trailer. I'm happy to have you here, Luke. Very happy to have you here, man. It's gonna be fun. I'm really excited to talk about this with you guys. Josh, hello. Well, hello to you too, Josh. Thank you for joining tonight. We got Fritz. I can never say your name without messing it up. Fritzky. What's up? Just thought I'd drop in real quick and say hi. Well, hi, Fritzky. Thanks for joining. Thanks for saying hello. Thanks for stopping by. Happy to have you. We got Schofield Studios in here. Hey, well, hey to you too, man. Thank you for joining us. We got Simply Sorrow. Hey, Zach, glad to finally join a stream live. Hope you're well. This new Thor movie seems like it'll be an interesting watch. Well, thanks for being here, Sorrow. Glad to have you. And yes, without further ado, let's just get into it. Let's start talking about the Thor Love and Thunder teaser trailer, guys. This trailer, this tease was truly a tease. They definitely didn't show too much. You didn't really get too much of a sense of the story, but you know what? For a first teaser trailer, that's exactly what you're looking for, and I thought they did it really well with this. I have the teaser trailer pulled up next to me. Unfortunately, can't share it on the screen with you guys. I really wish I could, but I'm just going to go through a couple moments in the teaser trailer and talk about it. So this teaser trailer really surprised me. I'll just start with that real quick, because this teaser trailer was different than I was expecting. And I think I went into it with expectations of I was expecting more humor because it was Taika Waititi coming back from Thor Ragnarok, and the trailer kind of blew me away with just how beautiful it was and how kind of it was a different tone than I was expecting. And I really liked what they were doing with it. I liked the idea that they presented in this trailer that, you know, it's very kind of meta right now. The Avengers are over. The Avengers era of Marvel has moved on, and with it, Thor has moved on. He's kind of the last remaining hero of that original core group with another movie, his own solo movie. So he's kind of in a state of he's retiring. He's ready to move on from the superhero life, and he is exploring. He wants to find out who he is, and I really like that idea that Taika Waititi is presenting with Thor in this movie. That kind of caught me off guard, but it was a really welcome surprise. Another welcome surprise for me was actually just how much the Guardians of the Galaxy popped up in just this little teaser. Again, totally just teased them, but they were in this trailer more than in this little teaser more than I thought they were going to be, and they provided the big laugh of the trailer for me when Star-Lord is telling Thor that you just got to look at the people in the eyes that you love and tell them you love them, and Thor just comes creeping in with that goofy smile. It was the type of humor that I was expecting to get all throughout this teaser based on Thor Ragnarok, and what I did appreciate, though, because I've watched this teaser quite a bit more times now, is there are subtle bits of humor that Taika Waititi is putting into this teaser that definitely shows that it's still going to be a goofy, fun time. I love this image I have pulled up right now. It's Thor. He's got big, giant chains, and he's working out. He's losing all of his bro Thor fat, which I'm so excited. We're totally going to get a training montage. Like the 80s style, like Rocky. I'm so excited to see Taika Waititi play with that. And even in the image itself, he's wearing a hat as he's working out that says Strongest Avenger, which is obviously a callback to Thor Ragnarok. And I love the little banter we got between him and Star-Lord, kind of sizing each other up, kind of in this competition with each other. I really enjoy that aspect of this teaser, but it just looks beautiful. There's a shot here with Thor and Korg watching the Guardian ship fly off into space. I think they're on the planet of Sakaar. It looks like you can see some garbage dumps here, kind of piling up. You can see the very top of it. So I think that they might be back on Sakaar. But Korg is with Thor in this teaser quite a bit. He is in quite a few shots with Thor. So I think we're going to get a lot more Korg and Thor on their adventures together. My theory at the moment, I think, is that the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be in like the first act of the film, and like we're going to follow Thor and them after Endgame. Thor's going to go on some adventures with them, and then he's just going to want to go his own way, want to go the solo route, and that will eventually team him up with Korg for their adventure for the rest of the movie. Yeah, so that's just some stuff that stuck out to me at the moment. Let's see what you guys are saying real quick. All right, we got Luke. Luke is saying the trailer for Love and Thunder was awesome. As much as I love Ragnarok, I'm super excited for the next chapter. Yeah, I really enjoy Ragnarok, man. It's not one of my favorite MCU movies. It's definitely funny. I really enjoy it. I actually just watched it not too long ago with Cass the other night. And man, it's just so fun. It's so different from the other Thor movies. But I'm actually thinking that Love and Thunder has the potential of being better than Ragnarok. I think Taika Waititi could really outdo himself with this one, because after I watched the teaser for Love and Thunder, I actually went back and watched the teaser for Ragnarok. And they're very similar in some ways when you watch them. I mean, Ragnarok, the first teaser for Ragnarok is a lot more serious in tone. You would not expect how funny that movie is when you watch the first teaser for Ragnarok. It's very serious. It focuses on the destruction that Hela is going to bring and Thor being cast out. The only real laugh you get from the Thor Ragnarok first teaser is at the end when the Hulk comes out and you get that whole, we know each other, he's a friend from work line from Thor. That's really the only laugh that you get from that first teaser. And similarly with this one, the tones, I wouldn't say very serious, but you don't really get that goofy silliness right off the bat with this teaser. And the big laugh you get is kind of near the end when Thor's creeping into Star-Lord's eye view. So very similar. I found that very interesting. So I definitely think Love and Thunder is going to bring the wackiness and silliness that we all loved from Ragnarok, and I'm excited, man. Schofield Studios. I wish they showed Christian Bale in the trailer. He's going to play a character, right? Yes. Christian Bale is playing the villain, Gore the God Butcher, I believe is his name. Gore the God Butcher. Please bear with me. I stumble over my words. And we didn't get a shot of him in this teaser, which I think is appropriate. I think they should save him for the full official trailer. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Christian Bale does with it, man, because Christian Bale's an incredible actor, and he's an actor that can pick anything that he wants to do. So the fact that he chose that he wanted to do Thor: Love and Thunder, I'm excited to see what this movie has in store for us, man, with Gore. All right, Simply Sorrow. That scene was hilarious. Thor is probably my favorite character when it comes to humor. Yeah, the Thor character got completely reinvented in Thor Ragnarok with this humor, and they really let Chris Hemsworth shine with his comedic talent. And there's bits of that throughout the first Thor movies and the first two Avengers movies as well. But they just let him have full reign in Ragnarok, and it worked so well. And yeah, he definitely shot up the list pretty fast of how one of the funniest MCU characters to be in the movies. I agree with you, man. I love what they did with him. Luke is saying Ragnarok is actually my favorite movie in the MCU. Well, hey, man, that's all subjective, and that's totally great, man. I'm glad that you love it that much, and I really enjoy it too. A lot of people I've actually seen put it at number one in their MCU list. I don't have it quite that high. It's definitely in the top 10, though. Maybe the top 5. I can't remember. I'll have to redo another ranking of the MCU projects, because I did one 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And there's been a lot more projects that have come out since then. So I may have to update that list for sure. Josh, in my opinion, my favorite is Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, man, that's another thing too that gets me really excited, especially seeing how much the Guardians are in this one teaser alone. I'm excited to get more Thor and the Asgardians in this movie, or Asgardians of the Galaxy as they're called, because they were some of the best parts of Infinity War, and even the end of Endgame when he re-teams up with them. Like, they have this synergy that just works between this Thor and characters. They're both funny and very similar yet different ways, and when they come together, they're just hilarious. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that team up. Those guys come together in this movie as well. All right, so more of the trailer moving forward. As we've discussed, it looks absolutely gorgeous. You got Thor and Korg going on their adventures here. We get a little bit more of a look at New Asgard in Norway with King Valkyrie there. Looks like she's in like a board meeting, and she doesn't look impressed. If you look at her face, she doesn't look too happy to be in this board meeting. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Valkyrie, and also having. I'm curious to see how they explore having New Asgard on Earth, because now that they're a part of Earth, I mean, the governments, the world's gonna want to, infiltrate their society. They have to abide by rules of Earth, and I'm sure that the culture will be very different than what they're used to on their Asgard. So I'm curious to see how much they play into that, how much they develop that, and I think it could be really, really fascinating to see how Valkyrie, who's now king of Asgard, is dealing with with us noobs on Earth who are probably messing up the place. And then this shot, yeah, we got Thor looking into Star-Lord's eyes, and then of course the big money shot of the trailer is of course Natalie Portman's reveal as Mighty Thor. And it actually took me a minute. I knew Natalie Portman was Mighty Thor. I knew that she was gonna be female Thor in this movie. But looking at her, it took me a little minute. I had to take a couple of second glances to really see Natalie Portman under the helmet holding the hammer. She really jacked up for this movie. Her arms are huge. She looks great. Her stance is great. I'm really excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see Jane come back because I always liked the Jane character. I thought she got way too much hate. Before I continue on, let's catch up with what you guys are saying. Luke is saying, if you want to do an updated top 10 MCU movies list, I'd be down to do it with you since my list is updated since Eternals and No Way Home. Dude, I'm down. Let's do that. Let's set something up. Let's get that going. I would totally love to collab with you and do that again. Top 10, even if we just did all the MCU movies, man, I'd be down to do that because I definitely got to update my list. I think time has changed some things. My opinion might have changed a little bit on some things, and there's just more stuff to talk about. So I'd be down for that, man. Let's set something up. You know how to contact me. Schofield Studios. My only worry is that they try to copy Thor Ragnarok in every story beat. From the trailer, they seem to be leaning in the comedic. I always hated reading out loud in class. Did you guys hate that when the teacher would pick on you and you have to read from the textbook? Because it never comes out in one fluent take. Anyways, you were saying, my only worry is that they try to copy Thor Ragnarok in every story beat. From the trailer, they seem to be leaning in the comedy aspect, and it looks a lot like Ragnarok. Even the music sounds similar. That's another thing I caught, too, about the two teaser trailers, is that in the first one, you got the immigrant song, and then in this one, they're playing Sweet Child of Mine. He definitely did some similarities between the two teasers, I noticed. But as far as the movie feeling like Ragnarok, I didn't get that sense from this teaser personally. I thought it felt quite different. I thought it felt like a advancement of Thor's character journey. I thought it had some fun new ideas presented into it, and I didn't really get anything that really came across to me that they were going to be redoing Ragnarok. I think there could be similarities, but we'll have to wait until the movie comes out for us to really know if what ends up being the case. Yeah, Liz is in here. Liz is a frequent one. I love seeing you in here, Liz. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hey, Zach, did you see that Gamora was missing from the Guardians? Yes, I did notice that the Gamora was missing from the Guardians. I don't think Zoe Saldana's scheduled to be in this movie, if I remember correctly. Because at the end of Endgame, well, as we know, she died in Infinity War. They brought back another Gamora from a different timeline at the end of Endgame, but she got out of there before she had to shack up with Star-Lord. So she is missing. So they haven't even found Gamora. So I think at the beginning of Love and Thunder, I don't know if they'll be searching for Gamora specifically, but I'm sure they'll hint at that. I'm expecting that to be a big bulk of the story in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to find that Gamora. But yeah, she was not with this group of Guardians, and I don't know if we're gonna see her. I don't know if we're gonna see her. But It would be nice if we did. All right, Liz. I'm talking about the Gamora from 2014 from Endgame. Yes. Oh, that's right. They pulled it from 2014. That's right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna have her in this. I would put my money on it that they don't. I don't think they're gonna have Gamora in Love and Thunder. I don't think she's scheduled to be in it. But going back to Lady Thor or Mighty Thor for a second, it does raise a lot of questions for me that I can't wait to see how the movie answers. I mean, first of all, how did she get the powers? You know, how did Jane become worthy? And not necessarily in the comic lore, but how they're going to explain it in the movie. How does she become worthy? How is she all of a sudden worthy to wield the hammer? And where does she get the hammer? How did she find the hammer? Did the hammer find her? Did the hammer reassemble itself from Ragnarok and go and find Jane for some reason? I'm very curious as to why exactly she's been granted the powers of Thor that has made her worthy. But Natalie Portman, man, she just looks so good at the end of this teaser trailer. Like I have the image pulled up right now, and she's got the long blonde flowing hair. She's got the cape. She's got the hammer. She's jacked. She looks fantastic. Liz, I'm excited to see that training montage because I was not a big fan of Fat Thor. I liked Fat Thor. I never I never called him Fat Thor. I liked Bro Thor or like the Big Lebowski Thor. I thought those were pretty fun. But I really liked that they went that route in Endgame. I know it was like controversial because he became the butt of the joke and it was like they were making fun of fat people. I just like that he kind of like went into this depressive state and we saw him struggling with that and we're gonna see him come out of that. And I'm excited to see the training montage as well, Liz. I think with Taika Waititi at the helm of the director's chair, I think it's going to be hilarious, and I cannot wait to see what he's done. Josh, you can see the cracks in the hammer as if it's been reassembled. Yeah, she got that crazy glue out, and she has glued that thing back together. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of the questions I have is how does that hammer get fixed? How does it get repaired? How is it going to find Jane, or how is Jane going to find it? Very curious to see how they answer that. Luke, I know this is off topic. Yeah, that's fine, man. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised are you that that you bought Jackass Forever on Blu-ray today? Not very surprised. I mean, you seem to be I'm just assuming you seem to be a fan of the movie and of the group itself. I think so. So I'm not too surprised that you went and picked that up, man. But I'm glad you got to pick that up. I'm glad that you now have that in your collection forever or for as long as you want it. Luke, Fat Thor reminds me so much of Big Lebowski. Yeah, that's what people would call him is Big Lebowski Thor. And I like the character, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be a little sad to see him go in Thor Love and Thunder. But I'm glad that we're going to get at least a little bit of him. I imagine that's probably like how they open the movie is probably with that training montage. And it would be funny if he was like battling against Star-Lord as well. And they were both working out and trying to get into the best shape possible. I think there's some fun stuff like Waititi can do with that montage, man. All right, Schofield Studios. I totally forgot that Gamora is still alive in a franchise where a character could just be brought back to life by time travel, scrolls, off-screen Infinity Stones, or magic. I keep forgetting who's dead. You know what? A lot of people complain about the fake deaths in the MCU. I honestly think it's a little overblown. I don't think it's actually as big of a deal as people make it out to be. Because we have Coulson. Coulson died in the first Avengers movie. He's on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they never really addressed him being alive in the movies. So unless you're watching the show, which even Kevin Feige kind of like denounces himself, that's not a part of the MCU. Coulson's still dead. He never came back. Odin died in Ragnarok. He has yet to come back. Loki, yeah, Loki's the only one I can think of who has died and come back at least twice, but or 3 times maybe. And then Gamora technically died. This is a different Gamora. But I don't know, guys. Am I missing anyone? Quicksilver died. He ain't back. He ain't back. And I don't know if there's any signs of him coming back. So I don't know. The whole argument of like the fake death Marvel Cinematic Universe, I never really got. You know, like I don't think it happens as much as people make it out to be. The big Thor Bowski, good one. Schofield Studios, that's a good one. Luke, I'm the biggest fan of Jackass you will ever know. I think that's true, Luke. I think that you've proven that to be true. I can already feel that it's true. Uh, Lisbeth, I'm kind of sad to see that Thor is retiring from superheroing. He was one of my favorite Avengers. Yeah, he won't though. You know he'll be back. He'll get pulled back into the game. But I am very curious to see how they explore that character growth for him. And I like that they're going that direction. And that's honestly kind of a character journey I have yet to see, at least in the MCU specifically. Like someone who he's done the superhero business, he's given his time, he's done his duty, he's served his not just his planet but other planets, the universe, and now he wants to retire, chill, go on a pirate boat and kiss a blue-haired girl. You know, like I like the idea of that. I'm curious to see how they play it out in the movie. Chillmonger. Who is Gamora? What is Gamora? That's a good callback. Schofield Studios. Here's a better question. Why is Gamora? That's what it is. Why is Gamora? I messed it up. Great going, Zach. But good on you, Schofield Studios. You caught that one. That was such a good moment in Infinity War. Man, I'm so excited to see the Guardians back. I miss the Guardians. Like, this is totally off topic from the Thor Love and Thunder trailer in a way, but like we haven't had the Guardians on screen, well, since 2019 and Endgame, but like their own solo screening since like 2018 when they had a scene in Infinity War. And then the whole thing fell apart with James Gunn and Guardians 3, and that got pushed back way back. Like, I'm so excited that we're getting a holiday special and a new movie with them coming next year because I really miss seeing the Guardians on the big screen and just as their group as a whole. Luke, I'm happy to see Christian Bale and Matt Damon are coming into the MCU. Matt Damon is in like when he played the stage version of Loki in Ragnarok. I guess technically he did come into the MCU with that. I mean, if I could, I would get Matt Damon in a bigger role than that. But Christian Bale coming into the MCU is definitely very exciting. Mostly just because of the caliber of actor that he is, and knowing that he's come into this project, it just makes you go like, what did he read in the script? What got him so invested besides, the big Marvel money, hopefully. Simply Sorrow. Thor is into emo chicks, apparently. Well, I mean, so far we've only really seen him date Jane, but he was into Valkyrie, but Valkyrie's not really that emo. Who knows? Maybe this movie will be where he goes into his own little phase, and then he'll see Jane and kind of snap out of it. I'm curious to see their interaction because I always felt like we got kind of cheaped out of the Thor and Jane relationship. Like, it just kind of abruptly ended, and I was a fan of it. I liked Thor and Jane. I know that Jane and Thor, especially as a couple, they were kind of scrutinized. They weren't the people's biggest appeal of those movies or as the MCU as a whole, but I always liked them together. And the fact that in Ragnarok they just kind of write her out as like Jane dumped you, I'm really curious to see if we're going to get more of that backstory, find out more about what happened, and just see them kind of interact together again. I'm excited, man. It's been a while. All right, Showmonger. I believe the Guardians are only in the beginning. I think that they're probably in either the first act or an act and a half, because I feel like this teaser showed quite a bit of them. The full trailer will definitely give us more of an idea of exactly how much Guardians we're going to get, but just the amount that they were in this like minute and a half teaser trailer, like you saw them at least 3 or 4 times in just this little teaser alone, and it did look like it was mostly from the same scene. But I'm guessing we're gonna get more of the Guardians than we might think, and I'm here for it, man. I'm excited. Schofield plot: the Guardians and Thor get chased by Gore the God Butcher, so they abandon Thor on a planet to save themselves. And Thor meets Jane on the planet and with help defeat Thor the God Butcher. Did you just make that up, or is that the actual plot? Can you let me know? Because if that's the actual plot, I'm actually not like upset by that. And if you just thought that up, that's creative, dude. That's smart. And if that is the actual plot, if you're not just making that up, I can see why you would think it would follow the beats of Ragnarok because it's Thor being chased by another villain like he was by Hela. That leads him getting abandoned on a planet and having to meet up with an old friend Hulk. In this time, it's Jane to help defeat the villain. If you didn't make that up, if that's the actual plot summary that is out there, I can see why you are worried about it repeating the story beats of Ragnarok. But if you just made that up, I buy it, man. I like your pitch. I would make your movie if I could give you money, and if I was Marvel. Josh, it would be a funny scene if you saw Thor on Tinder. You know what, Josh? I think it happens. I'm not gonna put money on it. I'm not gonna bet on it. I could see that being something Taika Waititi does, though. Thor on Tinder. I could totally see that being a thing. I will not be surprised if that happens. And if I see that in the theater, you're the first person I'm going to think of. Schofield, that's how I think the film will go anyways. Okay, so that's how you think the film will go. All right. That's not a bad guess, honestly. I don't necessarily think that's how the film's going to go. I don't think the Guardians would abandon Thor. I could see the Guardians more so helping Thor. I think there's a chance the Guardians come back in the third act of the movie to really like rally the troops and help, because if Gore the God Butchers is, I believe his villain is going after gods, or gods, people who they believe are gods, and he's trying to wipe them all out. And Star-Lord, we learned in Volume 2, he's half god. He's got a little bit of that in him. I mean, he lost his power at the end of Volume 2 when he killed Ego. So maybe that doesn't have to do with anything. But if he is half god, Gore the God Butcher would technically be going after him too, right? Possibly? I don't know. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking. Schofield Studios. I think that's how the plot will go. I don't know for sure. Okay. Well, dude, props to you. I think that's actually not a bad plot. That didn't sound like a bad movie at all. It sounded similar to Ragnarok for sure. But even if that was your influence to try and pick a plot out of this movie based on just this little teaser alone, and you just went to Ragnarok for inspiration, good on you, dude. I enjoyed reading that. I thought that was good. Chillmonger. There was a car behind Jane. It had to be Earth. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the image right now, and I don't know why it took you blatantly pointing that out to me, but yes, I am now seeing that there is a full car behind. Like, it's not even half a car or hiding. It is right behind Jane. I was just so focused on looking at Mighty Thor that I didn't even notice that the car was right there. So yeah, I guess it must be Earth. It could be Earth, or an Earth-like place, or maybe stuff from Earth got brought to another planet, like in Thor: The Dark World. I don't know. Spitballing here. Luke, which one are you more excited for, Multiverse of Madness or Love and Thunder? I mean, I think it has to be Multiverse. It's tricky because, okay, here's the thing, and here's kind of my problem with Doctor Strange in general. I'm excited for Thor: Love and Thunder because I love the Thor character, and I'm curious to see where his journey goes and where he's gonna, and what Taika Waititi is gonna take him on, and where he's gonna end up by the end of the movie. With Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange's character is my least anticipated part of that movie. Like, that movie just sounds like it's gonna be bonkers. It's got wild speculation and rumors behind it. I'm super excited for Wanda and to see where she's going to go. I'm really hoping that they let her be the villain and that she's going to go bad. But everything, and Sam Raimi coming back to direct a comic book movie, I'm super excited to see what he does with that. But everything else in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness that I'm looking forward to doesn't really involve Doctor Strange. And I think for that reason, I am more excited for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness just to see what all the craziness, speculation, rumors, and where Wanda's story is going to go from there. But if it comes down to characters, I'm looking forward to seeing where Thor ends up and where he goes in Love and Thunder, more so than Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness. But that's just me. I like the Doctor Strange movie. I'm not the biggest fan of the character. I like him. I think he's fine. But I don't know. I just feel like Thor's a more fun character, and I feel like I'm going to have more fun in his movie. But I'm definitely more excited for Multiverse of Madness just because of everything going on inside of it. Chillmonger. Oh no, sorry. Schofield Studios is responding to Chillmonger. Maybe they take a trip to Earth to watch The Big Lebowski. That would be an awesome scene. I'd be down for that. That would be really funny. You know what? I've never seen The Big Lebowski. I might have just admitted something that makes you all go, what? You can't laugh at that joke anymore. I know about it. Like, I've seen clips of it. I've never sat down and watched the full movie, though. Lisbeth, you know Marvel going to hit us with all those TV spots like a month before Thor comes out and just put the whole movie together. You know what? I haven't really been watching too many TV spots anymore. I don't have satellite or cable anymore. And so if I can avoid them, I do. Like, I'll watch the trailers, I'll watch the teasers, but I find myself less and less watching the TV spots just because there's so many of them, and a lot of the times it's the recycled footage. So even if that's the case, I don't have to worry about that. Chillmonger is giving a crying, laughing face. I'm glad you're having fun, man. I don't know exactly what it's for, but I'm glad you're having fun. Schofield Studios, Luke Ponto. That's tough. Okay, so he's responding to which one he's more excited for, Multiverse of Love and Thunder. If I want a horror film, I will pick Multiverse of Madness, but if I want a comedy, I would watch Love and Thunder. Honestly, Schofield Studios, I don't want to burst your bubble. I don't think Multiverse of Madness is going to be as horror as some people are expecting. I know that they said when it was first announced that it was going to be like the MCU's first horror movie. They had Scott Derrickson from the first Doctor Strange movie coming in to do it, who's also a horror director. He left for creative differences. They brought in Sam Raimi, who's also a horror director. I definitely think that there might be creepy moments just in the MCU overall, but I don't know how much horror fans are going to find themselves pleased by the horror aspect of the movie. That's just me. That's just what I'm thinking. I've heard that people are really excited for it because it's the first horror movie in the MCU, but I really don't know how much horror it's going to be. But I could totally be wrong about that. I might pee my pants in the theater from being so scared. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? Simply Suro. Thor on Tinder. Nope. Look at her. Hair. Way too much effort. She is probably a narcissist. Camera zooms out to show to his luscious hair. Okay. I could see I could see Taika Waititi being able to execute a joke like that. It would be kind of tricky, but it's not bad. I'll give you like the golf clap. That's not a bad setup for a joke. Schofield Studios. If Sam Raimi is making another superhero movie, whoops, lost it. Sorry. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. If Sam Raimi is making another superhero movie, he needs to make another zombie movie. It's only fair. I honestly don't know what movie you're referring to. I haven't seen any Sam Raimi zombie movies, but I've seen Evil Dead, and is that a zombie? Is that the zombie movie? I don't know. Help me out. I don't know. Luke Ponto, where's the money, Lebowski? I'm guessing that's a quote from The Big Lebowski. I think I've heard that before. Lisbeth, sorry, Zach, gotta call it EA. Gotta call it a night. Gotta go. Are you gone? I don't know. Sorry, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, Elizabeth. But if you left, thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. It was great to have you, and have a good night. And if you're still here, let me know. Schofield Studios, question. Do you think they have revealed too much footage of Multiverse of Madness? I feel like they show another 30 seconds of footage each week, even though the film is only 2 hours and 20 minutes. I think it's even less than that. I think they said the running time was 2 hours and 6 minutes. Like, I think this movie, with the credits not taken into account, this movie's going to come in at like 150, an hour and 50 minutes long. I don't think they've shown too much footage to personally. Like I said, I'm not really watching the TV spots, so I guess I can't speak to that fully. But just what I've seen, there's still a lot of mystery attached to this movie. I'm still not exactly sure where it's going to go, what the implications are going to be for the MCU overall, for the multiverse that the MCU is doing overall. Will the multiverse continue? Will it end? I still have a lot of questions going into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness that I'm excited to definitely check out. Oh, Elizabeth said, yeah, sorry, I accidentally clicked send early. Have a good stream. Well, have a good night, Liz, and thank you so much for joining once again. Great having you here. Schofield Studios. Sam Raimi made the Evil Dead films and Army of Darkness. Yes, I saw Army. I actually saw Army of Darkness before I saw Evil Dead because I was like just scrolling through Netflix one night and I couldn't find anything. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna type in the first letter of the alphabet in the search bar, and the first movie that pops up, that's what I'm gonna watch. So I typed in A, and the first one that popped up was Army of Darkness. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm watching. So I watched Army of Darkness with no knowledge of the Evil Dead films, and then like 2 years after that, I found out that it was a trilogy, and then I watched the first Evil Dead movie. And you know what? I actually haven't gotten around to watching the second one, which I hear is better than the first one. So I really got to get around to watching that. All right. Well, oh, that's Elizabeth again. Okay, so she's gone. Oh, we got Luke. The runtime for Multiverse of Madness is making me think they're going Incredible Hulk syndrome, which means making it too short when it should have been longer. I was fine with the length of Incredible Hulk. I'm not going to lie to you, Luke. I don't hate the movie. There's not an MCU movie that I hate. They go from I think it's okay to I love it. And the Incredible Hulk is one that I think is okay. I'm not a big fan of the movie. Its runtime being mercifully short actually works to its benefit for me. Um, I don't know what it is, but Liv Tyler annoys me in that movie just because she whispers every single thing that she says, Bruce, and it just it's stupid, but it gets on my nerves. And I was never a huge fan of Edward Norton's Hulk. Um, I thought it was fine as Bruce Banner. Like I much prefer Mark Ruffalo and the design and look and just character of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk over Edward Norton. Definitely not a movie I hate, but not an MCU movie that gets a lot of play in my disc and in my household. But I don't mind watching it. All right, Schofield. Not every movie has to be 3 hours with 20 minutes of trailers, dude. I totally agree. Um, the 3 hours with these movies are just kind of getting a little out of hand for some of like I mean, I guess the ones off the top of my head that I can think of are like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with 3 hours, Avengers Endgame, The Batman was just 3 hours. But like 3 hours is a long time. And those movies, thankfully, I think warranted their 3 hours. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood could have been cut a little bit shorter, to be honest. But yeah, um, 3 hours is a lot to commit to. So you got to have a really good movie to be 3 hours long. And I don't think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness needs to be 3 hours long. I think the 2 hours, I think Sam Raimi's going to do really great stuff just with the 2 hours alone. Oh, whoops, skipped one. Schofield. It's weird when you start watching a film in the theaters at 5 and get out at like 8 when it's dark. It really is. But I love it. I love that feeling. I don't know what it is. It's almost like um, when you're in the theater, at least my experience in the theater, you know, the lights are down, nothing but that big screen to focus on. And it's almost like time stands still. And it's almost like a trance that it puts you in, especially when you're really wrapped into a movie and its story and you just like are just so engrossed in it. And then it ends and you kind of like have that moment where you're like flashing back into reality and you walk outside and it's pitch black. There's something about that that I really love. But if a movie, I will say though that if my movie started at 5 and it's such a drag and I'm not out of there till 8, I feel it and it's rough sometimes to get through a movie in the theater when you're not enjoying it. Chillmonger. I believe the rumors of Liv Tyler returning to She-Hulk. Is she? Are there rumors that she's going to return to She-Hulk? Um, Honestly, if she's in She-Hulk, I wouldn't mind it. Despite what I just said, I don't hate Liv Tyler, but I haven't heard anything about that. It would be weird to see her interact with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. I wonder how that would work. I used to have this little head canon of mine because when the first Avengers movie came out, it was so hard for me to convince myself that Mark Ruffalo's Hulk was the same Hulk from Incredible Hulk, just because Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo don't really match. So I had this head canon of mine, and the movies debunk it, that Incredible Hulk took place years before the Avengers, and that Hulk just aged like 10 or 15 years or so into Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. That's kind of how my headcanon dealt with the change of actors. But yeah, the movies debunk that. It's not years apart. All right. Schofield Studios. Also, people act like if a film is 3 hours, it's an epic masterpiece that you must see. Yeah, no, I don't think you're wrong about that. But there are definitely some movies that even like 2.5 hours or just 2 hours can feel long. It depends on the movie itself and if the runtime was justified or not. Like the Batman, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's a masterpiece. I definitely think it's one of the best additions to the comic book movie genre in a while. Like definitely since Endgame, like Endgame in 2019. Since that movie, the Batman was like monumental. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it was a masterpiece, but I did feel like its 3 hours were warranted, and I like the movie just moved for me. I didn't really feel bored during the Batman, and that's all you can really ask for. Sonic is only 2 hours, just over 2 hours long, and that movie was rough for me to get through. I was feeling the time on that. I was ready to leave when it was over. Luke, the Incredible Hulk had 70 minutes of footage left on the cutting room floor, and they could have at least used 20 minutes to give the film a first act. I think the beginning of Hulk is my favorite part of that movie, to be honest. I really love how they just go through his origin story during the credits, and then you do I still have the greetings up? I think I do. I don't know. Let's just put it to Q&A. Sorry. So yeah, the beginning of Hulk is my favorite part where he's on the run in that other country and he's being hunted down by Thunderbolt Ross and the military. I love that part of the Incredible Hulk. Like legitimately, I thought that was a great part of the movie. Once he gets out of that and he finds his way back to New York or wherever it is, and he catches back up with Liv Tyler, then the movie starts to just kind of dwindle for me, and it's not as interesting. But I really love the first part of The Incredible Hulk. All right. Josh, 3 hours of Endgame, I can accept. It was a great movie. Yeah, the 3 hours of Endgame, even, like, you could argue that there's parts of that you could cut out, but why would you want to? There was so much great fan service and just so much great resolution, the character arcs and storylines that why would you want to cut that out? Oh, Josh also says, sorry, Zach, I got to go. Well, see you, Josh. Thank you so much for joining tonight, man. It was great having you here. Hope to see you next time. Have a great night, man. All right, Luke, the opening credits for The Incredible Hulk is essentially the film's first act. Yeah, I guess you could argue that. I don't know. I think the stuff with him on the run and until he gets back into New York, that counts as a first act, doesn't it? You're getting introduced to the character, stuff is happening. I don't know. It's all subjective, I guess. Sorry it didn't work for you, man. Oh, Schofield Studios is responding to Luke. I haven't seen The Incredible Hulk, but I'm not saying that 2 hour films are long. If the film is 90 minutes, they could make it 120 and I wouldn't have a problem. Well, are you talking specifically about The Incredible Hulk? You haven't seen The Incredible Hulk? I honestly, like, I weekly recommend that to you. Like, I don't think it's great. Like, I think it's okay, but honestly, a lot of people love it. I think it's worth a watch. And if you're saying that this specifically to the Incredible Hulk, that you'd be fine with it being 120 minutes. It was just 90. Movies definitely have a pace that they need to hit, and some movies they like 120 minutes is too long for some movies. Like some movies, a 90-minute movie needs to be 90 minutes. So, like, okay, this is a really weird example, but this Easter weekend, Cassidy and I rewatched Garfield. Do you guys remember that Garfield? Bill Murray voicing Garfield from like the early 2000s. We both grew up with it, so we wanted to revisit it. That movie's like an hour and 22 minutes long. That's good. That is the pace that it should be. That's the time it should be. I did not need that movie to be 2 hours long. So there's definitely some movies that 90 minutes is perfect for them. 120 minutes is perfect. 90 minutes can be too short, and 120 can be too long. It all depends on the editing and how the story flows. Simply Sorrow. That walking out the theater after a good movie is an awesome and refreshing feeling for sure, especially if it's with friends. Yeah, man. Like, there's nothing really like seeing a movie with a group of people, like with friends, and you all watch the movie, and like you kind of give each other looks at times, but you don't really know what they're thinking. And then when you walk out into that lobby and you're just buzzing about a movie and you're all just chatting over each other, trying to get your thoughts out, that is a great night with friends. That's a great time. On the flip side of that, when you see a crappy movie and everyone's just trashing it on the way out, that can be fun too in a very different way. Schofield, is anyone watching the final season of The Walking Dead? I think me and a couple thousand people are the only ones who watch that anymore. I never got into The Walking Dead. I'm not really a big zombie guy. Um, yeah, I tried it. It wasn't really something that I was interested in. I never got into the zombie phase. So yeah, personally for me, I'm not watching, but I'm sure there are some people watching besides just you. Simply Suro, have you ever been in a phase where movies no longer interest you the way that they did? If so, how did you get out of that phase? That's an interesting question. Actually, whoops, sorry. Actually, I was really into movies when I was young as a kid. And then when I got into like elementary school, I kind of drifted away from movies and really loved watching TV. Like I loved watching like the Disney Channel, Nickelodeon shows more than I would watch a movie. And when I got back into middle school, while I was still watching TV and stuff like that, I got more into movies because movies were just a nice way to just kind of be like 2 hours in at the most, you're in and out, you know? You didn't have to yet sit down and binge to get the end of the story. So I started to really fall back in love with that in about middle school, where it was like, if I'm gonna go home and watch, something, I'd much rather watch a movie than a show because a show is going to take me way too long to finish, but a movie I can just get 2 hours in and then I'm in and out, and then I can just like pop the next one in and get a whole story in front of me. So that's kind of when I got really back interested into watching movies, and that's where my interest in movies really grew, was in middle school, and that's when I started to find like people on YouTube who were kind of like me and liked talking really more in depth about movies, more so than just saying, "Oh, it was good. I liked it." Like I found Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman, the Schmoes Know at the time. Collider was a channel at the time that I found, and they were just people that really dove into movie reviews in a level that I was way more interested in, and that also boosted my love for movies because I was learning more about them as I was watching them, and I was learning more in-depth ways to talk about them from these people on YouTube. So that was definitely a big reason why I really got back into watching movies. And now I hardly watch TV shows that much anymore. I'm all about movies. Unless they're streaming shows, then I'll definitely binge those. Luke, I feel like I'm one of the only people that loves the Incredible Hulk. I watched it a lot as a kid. Dude, you're not the only one that loves the Incredible Hulk. Believe me, I have a friend that really loves the Incredible Hulk, and he prefers Edward Norton over Mark Ruffalo, and he's kind of upset that they never used Edward Norton's Hulk in the MCU going forward. But yeah, you're not the only one, dude. So don't worry about that. And even if you were the only one, who cares, right? If you enjoy it, that's all that matters. Schofield Studios. I watched that Garfield movie back when I was an innocent kid who thought the film looked good. I rewatched that film 3 years ago, and I made an oath to never watch that film again. Yeah, it doesn't hold up. It really doesn't hold up. It's a weird movie. It's a really weird movie. We were gonna double feature Garfield and then Garfield 2, and after we finished Garfield, we were done. We were like, like even Garfield 2 was only an hour and 18 minutes. Like it was less time than the first Garfield was, and we didn't want to deal with it. We're like, we're done with this. We revisited our childhood. We found out that in reality it sucks. Let's move on with our lives. Schofield Studios, Simply Suro. Oh, okay, so he's responding. In the second half of 2019 and the first 3 months of 2020, I lost interest in movies, but then COVID-19 came around, and I started to appreciate movie theaters in a time that I couldn't go out. Yeah, man, COVID-19. Yeah, that was rough. Not just like for movies and stuff like that, but just going out in general. Like just the things that you could do that was just everyday life that you kind of took for granted, and then it was just suddenly over. Yeah, that was tough. when COVID first started up. But I watched a lot of new movies during that time. I got laid off for like a month. I know people that got laid off longer than I did, but I got laid off for a month, and I was just consuming everything on Netflix that I could. That was actually the first time I saw like Seven, and I got into this David Fincher kind of kick because I was looking for directors and movies that I just never watched before, just like didn't feel like I had the time to watch. So I watched like Seven, I watched like Zodiac. Like I just found all these films that I otherwise wouldn't have had the time or found the interest to watch it. So that was like one little blip of bright side during that COVID-19 first lockdown. Suro is responding to Schofield Studios. Yeah, man, I could see how that happens. COVID-19 sucked, y'all. Yeah, COVID-19 sucked, y'all. That is the quote of the night. But yeah, no, we're coming out of it now, which is great. I'm able to go back to the theater. Super excited about that. So yeah, things are looking up. Things are looking up, and it's looking good. Very, very excited about what's going on in the world right now in regards to that, because we're really coming out of it. Right, so it's 8:21. We'll go for probably about 9 more minutes. We'll probably cut it off at 8:30, and we'll have a good night. But yeah, anyways, final thoughts on the teaser for Thor. Thought it was really good. Impressed me in ways that I didn't expect to get impressed. Surprised me in ways that I didn't expect to be surprised. Different feel, different story, kind of storyline that he's going to explore than I was expecting. So really excited to see. Well, first I'm really excited to see the first full trailer. But as far as the teaser goes, it really worked for me. I really enjoyed it. All right, Simply Suro. Booyah! Happy that theaters and everything are open again. Yeah, man. Me too. Me too. I mean, the day I could go back to the theater, I was just there all weekend. I saw Sonic, I saw the Batman, I saw the Lost City, which Cass and I went on a date to go see that one. Good film, actually. I wasn't expecting much from it. I wasn't even sure I was gonna like it, but it was funny. When you get Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock in that jungle, the movie just takes off. The synergy is great. The comedy, the humor, it really works. I really like The Lost City. And I also saw Ambulance. Don't get me started on Ambulance. If you saw my review, you know that I wasn't the biggest fan of that movie. It was rough. That was a rough watch. I think that was the roughest watch I had all weekend. But it was pretty great. I really enjoyed seeing all those movies. And I'm looking forward to going back again, man. I haven't really looked at what's coming out. What's coming out this weekend? I wanted to go see Everything Everywhere All at Once, but my theater it doesn't really play movies that aren't mainstream movies to the public. We do have a theater that's like the smaller theater that plays more like art house movies. Like I saw The Lighthouse there, but Everything Everywhere All at Once wasn't really playing around me at all. I think the only thing that came out this weekend, Father Stu came out. Morbius has been out for a little bit, but I'm not going to go see Morbius in theaters. Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore is out. The Northman is coming out. I don't know. I hear that's pretty gory, and I can't really handle gore very well, so I don't know if I'm going to go see The Northman. But, yeah. Oh, let's see here. We got Simply Sorrow. Yep. Sounds like the camera could use some work on Ambulance, but other than that, you said it was good. Well, I think other than that, it was okay. I don't know if I like. It's not a huge recommend for me. Even if the camera work was better and I didn't feel like throwing up, it still was kind of like a disposable film in my opinion. Like it was fine. It was a fine story and everything, but I definitely would have enjoyed it a little bit more if the camera work didn't make me nauseous. But it wouldn't have gone up that much more. Jake Gyllenhaal was the saving grace of that movie for me. He carried the movie on his back. Schofield Studios. I loved The Lost City. It was much funnier than I thought it would be, and the guy who played Harry Potter did a good job as the villain. Best comedy of 2022 so far. Yes, Daniel Radcliffe. I always forget to mention him when I talk about The Lost City. Daniel Radcliffe as the villain, I thought was really entertaining. I thought he was really good. He was like the generic man, like businessman in suits, kind of villain, but I really enjoyed the way that he played it. It was different for him. Um, Side note, have you guys seen Swiss Army Man? That was the first movie. Actually, I saw Swiss Army Man before I watched Harry Potter. So I had kind of like the reverse effect where I saw Harry Potter after he was a farting corpse. And for those of you who haven't seen the movie, that sounds really weird right now. But yes, Daniel Radcliffe plays a corpse who just kind of farts all the time. And I watched that movie, and then I watched Harry Potter, and I was like, "Oh, that's the guy who grows up to be the dead corpse that farts." So it's my little story. Schofield Studio, Simply Sorrow. I think he said the humor also sucked. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. You're talking about Ambulance. The humor. I didn't like the humor in Ambulance. I thought the humor was rough. Like it was typical Michael Bay kind of trying to be funny but not really hitting the mark for me. Um, but yeah, it's just some of the choices of comedy. I shouldn't say that because it's all subjective. But like for me, comedy were weird. Like I was like, is that supposed to be a joke? Yeah, like I told this in my review, but like there's literally a part where the FBI agent says something along the lines of like, we're gonna get these guys and we're gonna cuff them. And then the girl that's with them says, but like with the metal cuffs, right? Not those fluffy ones that you use on the bed. But I'm bumped. Ha 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 ha. I don't know. It was just weird. I didn't get it. Schofield Studios just says no. No. No, is that no to you haven't seen Swiss Army Man? Because if you haven't seen Swiss Army Man, I I recommend it as just as a really goofy, weird. It's not even. It's just a weird movie. Oh, that Nicolas Cage movie, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I want to see that. If that comes out this weekend and it comes to my theater, which I hope it does, I will definitely be seeing that because that looks really fun. Simply Sorrow, no humor, no go, unless you make it intense, at least for me. Like, I like the show Gotham. Gotham. I saw the first 3 episodes of Gotham. It didn't really capture my attention too much. I didn't really get into it. But no humor, no go. So you only like movies with humor? Is that what you're saying? Unless you make it intense, at least for me. Okay, yeah. So if there's no humor, you don't like it unless it's intense. I'll give Ambulance this. There was some moments of intensity. There was some good moments of tension and suspense, and there was one scene in particular that just like was hard to watch. It was really kind of bloody and really the tension was high. Maya, hey Zach, I got my end today, so now I can go see movies whenever I want. Multiverse of Madness, here I come. Congratulations, Maya. That's great. That is a good feeling getting your end. Now you can drive without your parents. That's great. I remember when I got my end, the first time I drove in the car by myself, I had this like moment of like, I've never been in a moving car where it's just me. And I remember I went home to my parents and I said, wow, I can really feel the weight difference in the car when it's just me. And they were a little bit offended by that remark. I didn't mean anything by it, but just like, yeah, whoopsie, didn't come out the best way. Whoops. But that's awesome, Maya. I'm really happy for you. Schofield Studios. Who says when we are going to get these guys, we're going to cuff them? I thought that would be a guarantee since they're cops. Okay. To give Michael Bay the benefit of the doubt, I could be, and I most likely am, misremembering the way he said it, but it was something along the lines of that. It was something to talking about putting handcuffs on them and or like I can't wait to cuff these guys or something. It was something like that. But her response was like, but with the metal ones, right? Not the fluffy ones that you use on the bed. And either way you cut it, it's an awful response. At least to me, it's not funny. Schofield Studio, Simply Sorrow. I am watching Gotham right now. I'm in season 4. Gotham is up to season 4? Wow. I thought that show ended already, not gonna lie. And it gets less weird as it goes along. Also, Jerome is carrying that show. Don't know who Jerome is, but hey, good for him on carrying that show. And with that, guys, it is 8:30. This was great. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Thank you for talking about the Thor Love and Thunder teaser and just talking about some good, fun stuff in the world of movies. I enjoyed having you guys here. As always, it's an honor. Hope you guys all have a great night, a great day tomorrow. And I'll definitely talk to you guys very soon. There's some fun, exciting stuff coming up on the channel. Cass and I are going to do another movie commentary. We are going to be doing Top Gun. We're going to have that out in May in preparation for Top Gun Maverick. Like I said, I'm back to the movies, so expect more movie reviews coming out. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And with that said, I bid you all a good night.